C. Bhargav. For a perspective from the homegrown auto major Mahindra & Mahindra, we are joined by the company's hugely successful managing director, Mr. Pavan Goenka. We are also joined by possibly the most outspoken corporate voice in India, a hero on social media, chairman of the Manipal Global Education Group, TV Mohandas Pai. We're joined by chairman of the Piramal Group with interests in pharmaceuticals, financial services and real estate. Can we have a warm round of applause for Mr. Ajay Piramal? And last but not least, for a perspective on the real estate sector, we are joined in Mumbai by the founder of one of the city's best known business families, managing director of the Hiranandani Group, Niranjan-Hiranandani. You know, there are certain things you can plan for and certain things just fall into place by magic. On the back of what the finance minister has done, this is a magical panel, and I want a very warm round of applause for all of them before we kickstart this conversation. Yes. Mr. Hiranandani, from where you are at, what are you making of the cuts in corporate taxation and the impact this will have on the economy?
I think I'm delighted with the changes which have taken place. It's unbelievable. Finally, I think what has happened is there is a recognition that there was a cancer. We were only providing crocin for a cancer patient. This is the first time I think we have provided chemotherapy which actually will turn the downslide moving upwards. And I think the supply side economics is totally being addressed by this strategic move, which is, I think, going to make a big change. I don't think that the loss of the exchequer will be as much as it is being suggested. It's going to be maybe 1/3 of that ultimately by the end of the one year of reduction of taxes. But I think it's a wonderful thing. However, I think we need to address the demand side also. I think if you've taken care of the supply side, which I believe this work has taken place, I think the demand side could be with a strategic reduction in, say, GST by 25% for the next 6 months. I think that would address the demand side of it also, and I think in 3 months' time we would be able to get out of this recessionary. But what Mr. Mohandas Pai said is most important, which is liquidity has to be addressed by the Reserve Bank in a much more structural way. Something like we did in 2008 in terms of restructuring has still not come from the Reserve Bank. I think I'm looking forward to that kind of liquidity being addressed immediately.
You know, you said something very important, that this is a cancer. Do you think of this as a man-made cancer?
Sorry?
You said that this is cancer and we are now finally addressing chemotherapy. Is this man-made cancer?
I'm not looking back at what is the cause of the cancer, because, you know, there could be hundreds of reasons for cancer, and I'm not interested to hear that, because you can always blame people for having a cancer, and we still don't have good reason for why cancer was there, and you can call lots of reasons for it. I'm not here for that. I'm here to get rid of the cancer, and we have solutions for that. We have seen it all over the world when recessions are there, how cancer can be removed in the recessions of the entire world. We can do it much better than anybody else because we have institutions like Niti Aayog, institutions like Reserve Bank, and we have lots of other methods by which we can get out of this cancerous position very quickly. Earlier, we didn't have solutions. Today we do have it. The question is, are we aggressive enough to do it? I've seen it happen. I congratulate the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister on this move. I think it's wonderful that has happened.
Right. Mr. Hiranandani, you want to come in on the issue of tax terrorism? In Mumbai, several corporates complain about it all the time. Do you believe this is partly responsible for industry living in fear?
Of course, I mean, the reality on the ground is there. The problem is there. But I must tell you that what we have seen is a big change which has taken place at the highest levels of government. And when we talk about most of the problems which have happened, or the change which has taken place, is really taken place at the highest level. That has not percolated fully at the grassroots level, and that is the kind of terrorism which continues. So when we go and see what is there at the higher authorities in terms of policy changes, we see a paradigm has taken place, both at the center as well as the state level. But you go down to the revenue authorities and the local levels and the corporations and other things at the lower level, I think the terrorism still exists, and that is something which really needs to be done. And I think we cannot just say that it's just disappeared.
You know,
but certainly the paradigm has taken place, and I think it. And I also agree with Mr. Amitabh Kant on the issue that yes, a lot has happened. We are with you and we support the government entirely on that. But what we are suggesting is that with a recession being where it is, what we want is the $5 trillion economy. We want the paradigm to change in order that the growth should be, as was mentioned earlier, to grow at 10-12%, and we want it within this year. We don't even want it.
We're running out of time on this discussion. I want very quick final comments from our panelists on the most important issue of whether you believe we will have a dhamakedar Diwali this year or will we have a thanda Diwali, and I'll start by asking that question to Mr. Hiranandani.
I agree with Mr. Amitabh Kant, but I want to put it across to him that I cannot reduce real estate prices more than 5% because both the buyer and the seller will be taxed at an extortionate rate if the price is reduced below the ready reckoner rate more than 5%. So we will reduce the prices, we are ready to reduce the prices, but we can't do it officially because of such regulation. So while we see a lot has happened, and I promise you we are delighted as to what has happened, we still need to rationalize many things on the side of the demand side, and to see that when we want to do all these changes, those are effected as quickly as the other changes which have taken place. But congratulations to the government for the wonderful thing they have done.